Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the workshop meeting this Tuesday, June 17th. With the clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Marker.
Here.
Vice Mayor Long is absent. Commissioner Cassell.
Here.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
Here.
Mayor Carney.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. As many of you know, I have been talking about this education thing really since the campaign, but in the last few months where we talked about being able to have an arrangement with the school board of our own, telling the school board what we would like to see for the city of Delray. And in that regard, you will have in your package an email that Anthea Gianotis sent to me the other day referencing another document in your package, which was a study done by Greenway. What was it called? I forgot what it was called. Greenway Strategy Group, which was talking about striving for excellence in schools. If you go back to 1989 and 1995, this city actually had a striving for excellence schools agreement between the school board and the city. Now you're hot. Well, you know.
I'm just saying right now it feels super warm.
Every 70 degrees.
Okay.
You know, I'm the one with I got a woolen suit on, and so, and this was actually, and as Anthea points out in her email, which was very, very helpful and pointing me to this document, this was really going to be the foundation for trying to build what we wanted to have with education, with the amendment to the comp plan and all that other kind of stuff. But COVID came, so it never really got implemented. Now, COVID off-strided a lot of different things. You'll see also in here an email from Lynn Jellin, which really talks about the comp plan. And I'm going to ask Lynn to kind of explain, you know, how we're going to have to amend the comp plan. You're ready for that, right? I told you that the other day, right? Okay. And so we have a general idea, because there are lots of portions of this comp plan that we could amend. One of the things that we need to start doing, and I've heard Commissioner Casal say it, I've heard Commissioner Burns say it, and I know I have said it, relates to the different departments within the city that put forth money for various components of the education comp plan. I have never, and I asked Mr. Moore, albeit it was only yesterday, but I did ask Mr. Moore to provide us with a list of all the sources of revenue that are being used pursuant to the comp plan education elements, so that we could see where they all are, so that we could start consolidating, so that we actually know what we're spending on the various parts of the comp plan. We don't have that yet. Right. I know you've asked for it, and I know Commissioner Burns asked for it, and I know you two asked for it more than I did, but I asked for it as well. So that's why I sent to Mr. Moore yesterday.
And we did compile that earlier. I'll be happy to forward it to you.
Good. Look, I understood it was late yesterday, so I thank you for getting it done.
It's a bit of a rough draft, but as we continue the budget engagement process, we'll offer more specifics, but we do have an update now.
Right. And then you're also going to see. Well, I've got some notes I'm going to go through. I know you hate it when I do this, but I'm going to go through them anyway, because I spent a lot of time putting together all these packages, particularly this the City of Delray Beach Competitive Assessment and Cluster Strategy Study, which was done by FIU, also in March 19. You know, when the Economic Development Officer, the chairman of the executive director, came and spoke to this commission not so long ago, Commissioner Casal raised a very good question, which was, look, we're already built out, so what's the best thing we can do for our schools? And she said very succinctly, you got to make them A-rated. And we don't have the A-rated schools here that we need to have. And I've really focused my analysis on Village Academy, Carver, and Atlantic High School. And I say Atlantic High School because while it has an IB program, if you look at the statistics, and they're not going to want to hear this, but you know, the data analysis doesn't lie. The IB program at Atlantic has fallen in terms of its ranking, in terms of what other IB programs are considered in this country. And that's something I also want to focus on, because it was a jewel. It worked really well. Everybody went to it. We got all this praise when it was started, and nobody's really talking about it anymore.
Because no one's utilizing it, and no disrespect to the program, but I'm a mom with a child that's high school age, and it's
But it's the fault of us to not make that program so exciting enough
Well,
that people are
I
going to
wouldn't
want to
say
get.
us because we're relatively newer here, but when I did at some point try to affect change, Mr. Moore will recall, he's not sitting here, an apology letter was sent to the school board because I made a comment that the education wasn't amazing. So, I mean, I'm all for it. It's not about disparaging any organization. It's about understanding what we need to do and how we can get together to give our children a better quality education.
Absolutely, which is what we're trying to achieve here. I actually had I had lunch with the school board chairman, Brill, not long ago, and it was she that actually said, we have failed the city of Delray as it relates to Carver, Village,
Yeah.
and Atlantic. So with being armed with something that she's already very interested in trying to fix, I focused on those three particular schools. And look, we know there are others. We know there's issues with a lot of different ones. But these are three that the school board chairman herself says, we know we need to do something about.
Right.
So I like to, it's nice starting with someone who's already saying, we'd like to help you with these three things.
We understand that the problem is there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, in terms of trying to move forward, one of the issues that we seem to be lagging in, and it's no fault, but and by the way, none of this is a fault of, and I don't blame the city. I'm not blaming the school board. You know, COVID did what. We had about 10 years where there was a lot of revolving doors, both at the city and at the school board level. And so there was a lot of, let's call it slippage, and people forgot things. And then when COVID came along, it got forgotten even further. So this way, I'm hoping to try to get some kind of an understanding from us all what we really want to have. And there is the education element goal number 5, which essentially governs the relationship between the city of Delray and Palm Beach County. And I think we want to kind of discuss with what we want to do as action items. I mean, I understand can't vote on things today because some of the things we're going to have to get to at the end of today
Could
is.
you reference the document you're looking at right
I'm sorry.
now? Which
Well,
document
right
are
now,
you
I'm just
looking
talking from my notes.
Oh, okay.
But you have the documents that I'm giving you because the sharing for what I'm trying to do is to pick up on the 1989 and 1995 agreements, which were sharing for excellence agreements that we had that Tom Lynch actually put together, former Mayor Lynch, who went on the school board and was able to do some great things in terms of organizing of the agreement between the city and the school board. And I want to try to go back to that type of agreement so that we can really articulate to the school board what we want, and we can articulate to our citizens what we are expecting, to happen in these schools. Because, I mean, everyone says, well, this school is an A school.
Right.
They're not really A schools. They're saying they're A schools, but they're not A schools.
Totally understand.
You can't have comprehension levels in the high 30s and low 40s and say we're an A school. Just can't. You may have the greatest facilities in the world, but you're not an A school. And so what I'm trying to do today is I'm giving you, and I understand I'm giving you a lot, and I know this is kind of going to end up more homework than trying to get it done today, but we have, if you look at for example, the exploratory phase for the Greenway Strategy Group, you're going to see in here, they've looked at every single one of the schools. This is a little dated because, as I said, it's 2018.
Right.
But you're going to see the demographics of all the schools and all the challenges we have. But even back in 2017, the reading proficiency at Plumosa was 53% and the math was 55%. That's not
Remotely acceptable.
That's not acceptable.
Totally.
So I'm hopeful that we can sit here and discuss among ourselves and whoever what we really want to achieve with our schools. What is it we are looking with? What is it we want the school board to do? Number one. And because I think the school board, as far as I could tell from all of the papers that I read, and I went through a lot of the financial stuff that they did, the school board has actually never sent anybody into the schools. Like, in a company, as you know, when you have a company, you send kind of like one of these efficiency experts to kind of go in and look at the company and how we could make things better.
Right.
School board has never done that once. Well, I should say since 2015. They may have done it before 2015. I don't know. But since that date, they have never sent anybody into the schools to actually do that kind of analysis about how can we make this place better? What is it lacking? And what can we do? So one of the first things I think we should talk about in terms of our agreement with with this county is we need to make sure that they do that.
If I may,
Sure.
I totally agree with you. And you may recall, and this even happened before we were all up here together, I was suggesting that the school board needs to meet with us and give us some ideas, and that would be the starting point, right? Because they can't give us ideas until they know.
We want to come to them. They're going to have a set of ideas. We're going to have to be able to.
I agree with you.
I don't want to say challenge their ideas.
Okay, guess what I'm saying is, and I hate to say this because this is our fourth meeting on the subject, but I am with you. It's super duper important. I think there's, and I agree with the mayor in some respects. We can't go and amend the comp plan till we actually know what we're doing.
Absolutely, because there's
some
a
of the
process.
terminology, all the suggestions you made are perfect, but I agree with you. But I think us having this broad discussion about this today, without all looking at this and going back to our, homes and putting some real thought. I know what I would like. I would like exactly what you're saying. Go into the schools, tell us what you need to do, and then what we need to do. And then we need to start, and the city attorney sent us that information from Wellington. Look at these items and figure out how we can assist our schools in educating our children better. I don't know that today we can have a conversation about this because this is, we've all read this education element.
What I neglected to put in here, and I apologize, poor Nohemi was trying to print out stuff, as I know you say, you've got some of these before, but the 1989 and the 1995 agreements, which were,
That's
when
important.
I showed them to you when you happened to be there.
Yep.
And it goes school by school,
Right.
it's school by school.
So would this be an idea that we could embrace? Let's ask Mr. Moore to reach out to the school board and ask them to give us an assessment of each of our schools, or at a minimum these three. But I think we should compare all of them.
I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, I just happen
And
to
then
know that
we
the
need to
chairman
come
likes
back.
mentioned to me they failed in these three. So I
Right.
like to start with where I think is we've got a definite
The
path to a
ones
victory.
that we need to address very quickly. But
But
I
what-
would say do it all, because I'm going to tell you something over time, and I talk to a lot of parents. There are issues in other schools, in the city as well. So I feel like that's probably part of their job anyway. How can they educate our children without assessing the school?
And I'm
you
not
may
looking.
know
I am
better
not
about
blaming
this.
the faculties.
No
Again,
one's putting
I'm
blame.
not
We're having a
blaming
productive
anyone.
conversation. We don't have to make excuses for ourselves. We're asking for a better education for our children, and I'm not apologizing for that.
Part of what you will see when you go through this thing, this document, and this cluster study thing is that exactly what I'm trying to say here, which is to go into the schools. Now, one of the other interesting things that I found is that this is not a staff-to-staff discussion.
Right.
Staff's important, obviously, in
Yeah.
both entities, but this is really a school board, city commission discussion.
That is why I asked so
No, we're
many
getting there. I
times
mean,
to have
I'm-
the school board come and meet with us, sit down. So, Mayor, why
But
don't
we do need to have,
ask the city attorney or city manager to make a written, polite request to the school board to assess these three schools and come back to us with information, not statistics, we all have them, but information about how we and they can help our children. In the meantime, we can all go through all of these arrangements plus the additional information provided in this packet today, and let's try and get a time certain when they'll have those assessments and be able to come and sit down with us and give us information, and we will by that time have read each of the agreements with each of the schools, agreements with other surrounding cities have with their schools, because I think that's important to start comparing what's our school agreement to Boca High's, Spanish River, their schools. What are
Wellington
they
is a
doing?
great example of someone who they,
Right,
as
the city
a
attorney
town,
gave it-
which has done some great
Right, but keep in
personal
mind,
deals with the school board.
and I asked for that primarily because one of the things I think that
Would you-
is important for us to remember is Wellington put about $30,000 of their own money into each school.
I'm
So
thinking the number for us to get these studies done, because what I would really like to do is to have the Greenway strategy people, and I think Anthea would agree because this is now stale, but it was a good report, and it's kind of what you said with your thing, is to get this to, well, this was your
I think she's suggesting we'd probably have our education
Are
director
there
do that.
documents? I don't come, Angela.
No,
Angela, I guess I'm asking you.
I don't want our
Yeah,
this is I want a third party. I think we're gonna have to spend some money to upgrade.
Why don't we
to
ask
update.
the school board to go to the schools and
I think that's the first
in the
step.
meantime and
But-
start reading this, and then let's
I'm happy,
at the next meeting, why don't we have an item to discuss what we've read and
I'm
where we're
happy.
going
I'm happy to
next?
do that. But you'll see that I am thinking after going through all of the stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have something?
I do.
Sorry.
So-
You raised your hand.
Yeah, sorry. I don't come out of the education field, but yeah, I know you
Yeah,
do.
she's the teacher. She'll answer.
Angela's going to know. Is there materials out there that dissect what high-performing schools are doing, what their curriculum is, what their teacher makeup looks like? Or is there documents out there? Because I'd like to see.
I'm sure there are.
I'd like to see what we're shooting for.
However, each school is different. So you're talking about Wellington. You cannot compare Wellington to Delray Beach and
Right.
the neighborhoods around Delray Beach.
Demographics.
Okay.
Yeah, the
It's
demographic
totally
is
different.
completely
Alright.
different. So the expectation to have what's happening in Wellington to happen in Pine Grove or
Okay.
Village, that's unreal.
All right.
But absolutely, there are statistics that will, they have data out there. But I think that, we have to find out, what is the plan? What does the school district have? The formal improvement plan for each one of those schools.
Okay.
We need to know what that plan is.
Okay.
And then how we can support that plan.
Okay.
There's so much. I'm listening to all of this, and it all sounds great, but
I mean, we talk about like
But
there was.
what? Wait, I'd like to hear the
no,
what.
I'm just saying, we've been here, like you say, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, but we
like-
didn't have 3 people up here, and I don't think you were here, so obviously I'm not speaking about you. But when I brought that up, I got reprimanded, and a letter of apology was sent to the school board. We did not have 3 people.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that
up
with me.
here asking for help and results for our children.
Well, asking for help and demanding that's 2 completely different things. So we need to ask, and we need to work
That's what we're doing.
collaboratively together, and not, demands in a nice way.
In your
Expectations.
package, in your,
Have high expectations.
No, we're looking for help and guidance.
Absolutely.
in your package, you're going to see that one of the things I want to add to our educational comp plan, a goal, is fiscal transparency and accountability.
Absolutely.
We don't have that. And you'll see I kind of articulated where you, Commissioner Burns, and you, Commissioner Burns, Commissioner Casal, and I, we've done this.
Yeah.
The reason I'm talking about these 2 documents, the competitive assessment and cluster study, because if you read that, and you're going to have to read this, because my goal is to come back, and I know it's not an action item for today.
Right.
My goal is to ask this commission for, I don't know, $25,000 to update this Greenway one, and $25,000 to update this FIU one, so that we have, for the first time, independent data analysis, so that we can actually look at it as it's going to relate to everything, and they can do it. And so that, but you're not going to believe they can do it until you've read these, and I understand that.
I want to read them. I also want to know what the county is going to do, and I also think we need to ask what the cost is, because it may be more than 25,000. So
I'm
why don't we
guessing-
make this an action item for an upcoming commission meeting, so that we can come back to the table and talk about.
Because we're not going to know where we're going, because we don't even understand
Listen,
where we
I
were.
think we all are saying we
And-
need help.
and
The sooner the better.
I
for
spent a
our
lot of
kids.
time going through all of these documents. And as I saw, you saw me there the other day when I was going through those 2, the 1989 and 1995 documents. I tried to reach out to Tom Lynch over the weekend to ask him how he did it, and I wasn't able to reach him. But I am going to invite him to talk to us, because, well, not us, not I mean this way, because he was able to forge a very good agreement with the school board, and they did one in 89, as I said, and then they updated it. It may have been 94, but it was either 94 or 95. They updated it with, again, new data that they had obtained, because, and I mean this just because it's the way that we've been doing it in the past. To me, a download of a bunch of data on a bunch of sheets showing everything isn't helpful. I mean, I
Right.
read it, but I don't understand how that plays into how I can help the school.
Well, it doesn't give us a what to do.
Correct, which is why when I reviewed whether the school board has actually gone into these schools to say,
But I might
You know-
argue all this data is probably stuff we already have. This
it's
is
old,
not.
it's old, it's old.
No, but I'm saying I think this data we have. I don't think you need somebody to pay to tell you what's the
Well,
demographic
it's more.
Village Academy.
It's more than just that. As you read it, you're gonna see it's more than just a tabulation of these things. So,
Yeah, I mean, the capital investment part is certainly interesting, right?
well, I mean, some of that's stale.
No, I'm saying knowing the current value would be
But
interesting.
if we're going to try to do what the economic director of Palm Beach County said in reply to your question, what can we do here in Delray, because we don't have, all of these places to create these centers for kids to, tech schools and this, that, and the other
Right.
thing, just to make them A-rated schools. The only way we're going to make them A-rated schools is to have somebody come in there, do a real analysis,
Right.
and then we can figure out how we want to improve it. Because
Is-
nobody has, since
Listen,
2015.
I've been on board with this since before you were here, but I guess my
thought you were gonna
only
say
question.
before I was born.
No, no.
Thank-
But I don't, does the county does not do these studies for their own behalf to improve the quality of their education from school to school?
I'm
Right.
sure they do.
Okay, you're sure they don't?
I'm sure they do.
Right, so
Well-
why don't we ask Mr. Moore for the most current copies of their strategic reports,
Or assessments.
whatever you want to call it, report,
I mean, they can't make
assessment.
plans without collecting
Right.
data.
Let's
so-
try to gather as much information
I'm
as we
finding that
can
most of their plans are facility related.
before
They
we
like to
get
improve
on
this,
the
and they
next
improve that,
meeting.
and I will tell you, they've done a great job with Pine Grove. I'm not seeing the reading, writing, arithmetic, as they used to say in the song,
But they're
improved.
But I hear you, but I'm saying they do make those targeted improvement plans.
Then
So
why aren't they working?
so that's the data that we need to collect.
That's
Right.
why I'm focusing, I think.
Okay, but let's just take it a step at a time. Let's get the data they currently
And I'm gonna
have.
send you all the 1989
Let's
and
get
1995
all the
ratings.
reports. Mr. Moore, if you could reach out to them and ask them when the most current plan was done, and if it was very recently, then provide that. If not, we'd like an additional assessment if possible. Then let's get back together in our next meeting, go through all of this. Mr. Moore, if you can provide us the information before the next meeting so we can discuss it, and then maybe we can schedule a sit-down with them, the school board. And I agree with you, if what they provide us does not give us the information consistent with what's in these plans, then we should ourselves consider employing somebody to do that for us, so that we can show that we're also
Right.
interested
And the
in
reason
helping
I
ourselves.
understand that, the reason I encourage you to look at those two groups, the FIU and the Greenway group, is because I think that every entity which examines itself may not see all of the
Agreed,
things that they
one
need to
hundred
see.
percent.
And interested in terms of these two entities, by the way, would be engaged by the city commission and would answer to the city commission.
Understood.
So-
But if they have a current report, if they may not have one, in which case, but I agree
We
with
don't
you.
need to pay for duplicates. If they have it and we can get it,
So
then
let's
we don't
just
have to
gather
pay
as
for
much
it.
My
information
thing is,
at the
they're
next
not gonna
meeting.
be as complete
He's
as-
saying they'll be more independent
Okay.
if they're working for us,
That's all
and
right.
I don't disagree.
No,
So may I offer a recommendation to help summarize, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank
So your calendar for the month of July as far as regular meetings are July 8th and July 15th, Tuesdays back to back. We're getting pretty solid for July 8th,
Yeah.
and there will be workshop meetings both days as well. Budget July 8th, presentation by nonprofit partners on an annual basis on the 15th. So both are 3:30 meetings. So I would like to commit to a July 15th meeting engagement to this effect. It's just one week difference. But of course, myself and appropriate staff members will begin outreach with the school district of Palm Beach County next day or two to begin a process of assembling this information to be included in your agenda packet for July 15th. That will likewise enable the city commission to, one, understand what has been accomplished versus what needs to be accomplished, and two,
Right.
any thoughts can be generated relative to ancillary consulting services from that point.
Correct.
I think
Costs,
that's
et
a,
cetera.
yes ma'am, that's a very appropriate productive approach, and I like to recommend that based on the feedback that the four of you all are providing.
I'm
And
agreeing
July
with everything
15th
except, I think we should ask them to have it by the end of the month, because there's a lot to digest.
Yeah, you can email us that. And we can,
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes,
When you know
ladies
what I
and
mean.
gentlemen, of course.
Because I'd like to see what they have done in each school.
I will
And
ask
I want to
them.
see whether or not other people think that that is sufficient
He
to
said
try
he
to
would
develop.
provide that well before the
If
meeting.
I can, my request will be to expedite that as quickly as possible so that you all will have it in advance. I'm simply speaking about the structured agenda transmittal for the July 15th meeting.
Thank you.
To also include that information. So we'll get to work over this in the next day or so.
This is very exciting, Mayor.
And so, Mr. Moore, could you also make sure that the early prevention and wraparound services information that's provided to these schools is included in that report? And also, if possible, and I'm hoping it's possible, funding and resource allocations?
Yes, ma'am.
For
So
these
that would
schools.
be a core component of such a report. And what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is all Delray Beach Public Schools. Fair observation?
I would like that.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry about that.
Can we ask our education director if she has anything to add to the discussion? Is that appropriate?
This is really, you can, however, this was designed for the commission to offer your input and guidance,
Okay.
and we will work closely to get to the
Okay.
place based on what was directed.
Thank you.
So I'd like to go from there.
If I can have any legacy at all, if I can get the schools up and running so that we really have an opportunity for the kids that go there to get jobs,
Your legacy,
that would, huh?
working on your legacy.
I'm working on my legacy. I'm 71.
Think
I
you
can
got it
stop
covered.
time, right? I mean, yeah, it's really. You don't want to hear about my high school years. Goodness gracious.
No.
I was a goody kid. It was terrible. So yes, but you see what I'm trying to get at, and that's why I want everyone to read
Thank you
these
for the
things.
homework.
And I'm going to send you. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be in here. There were.
More?
We probably ran out of paper, but I want to.
She probably did have to go to Office Depot.
I want you to send I'm going to send you the 89 and the
Thank you, I would appreciate
94
that.
the thing for excellence, so that you can see. And one of the reasons that I put this in here for this comp plan, to add a new education comp plan goal of fiscal transparency and responsibility,
I share your concerns
accountability.
about that.
I think,
Yeah.
because as I said, we have a lot of different I mean, education does it, neighborhood services does it, Parks and Recs does it. We need to know what we're spending on education, and we need to be
totally
able
agree.
to focus it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is what I just sent you all a little while ago
Right.
when I stepped away. You all have that information now, as we were able to assemble that earlier today.
Thank you.
So off we go, and I'll be prepared to get to work in the next day or two, working with all appropriate staff.
And only because I asked you to do it. Do you want to describe to everybody what it takes to go through a comp plan change? Because Commissioner Gonzalez.
No, I
correct.
know. Thank you. I
wanna hear it?
unnecessary. No, I don't. Thank you. I went through
Anybody
one.
else want to hear it?
From start to
She
finish
got it all-
prior
She
to.
wrote it all out.
No, please. I don't need to hear it. We don't. Just email it
looks
to
like-
everybody. No, go. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't need it.
that's fine.
Thank
just-
you.
Is that the same thing?
It's the
right
same
there?
thing,
It's the same one.
Okay, so.
but I was going to have her
I went through the
Add it
comp
to my
plan
homework.
change. I worked on the comp plan that we currently.
Well, we've all worked on comp plans, so
Yeah.
that's, but you're going to see, and you're going to compare it to, then you need to look at the education elements, which you were also sent, and I sent again,
Thank you.
to go through, see which ones are important and which one not. I mean, Janae gave us a, breakdown of some of the proposed changes she wants, some of
Great
which I like,
changes, thank
some of
you,
which I think
Ms.
need to be
Bowens.
expanded, some of which I want to add. But, I mean, there were some good suggestions here, too.
Very.
So it's going to be a comprehensive review. I hate to keep bringing this up, but
I
just
hate
consider
that you
education.
keep bringing it up.
I think
Let's
this is
just
just
do
so
it.
important.
I agree.
We're not going
Mayor,
to move the ball down the field unless we tackle it and do it.
I'm
And-
on it with you, but I would say to you this, just constructively, unnecessary workshop. You could have thrown this out at the end of the last meeting, had the packets made for us, left for us, and we
Well,
would have been a month ahead.
That's your
We keep
opinion,
on having
Commissioner, and
discussions.
you're welcome to have it.
No, I'm just
I
saying,
thought it
I
was
think
important that we
this
let
is
the
our
community
fourth
know.
workshop on this
I think
subject.
it's time to do that, but I think this is the first time we made concrete things.
I
to
agree,
talk
we
to the
should,
school
this
board.
could have been done 2 meetings ago, I
So,
agree
yeah,
with
but we
you.
were, I didn't have all the paperwork. There
Well,
was not enough
I'm glad
paper
you got
thing.
on
I had to
it.
go
I
buy
appreciate
put
it,
in
and
there,
I'm
so.
excited, I think it's gonna be great.
Anyway, that's fine.
Yes.
Any other comments? This is technically a workshop where public comment is permitted. Are there any members of the public who wish to get up to speak on any subject? This would be your opportunity to do so. You will each have 3 minutes.
Hi, Marjorie Waldo, 316 Northwest 2nd, speaking as a member of the Ed Board for a number of years, as a teacher and principal for nearly 28, with at-risk, high-poverty students for the bulk of my career in Delray Beach, a lot of it. I just want to point out that the teachers and principals at our public schools, and if you look at the free and reduced lunch numbers only, you'll see that the majority of our schools are full of kids who eat lunch at school and that's it. Yeah. And that is the crux, I believe, as a member of the Ed Board and as a community member, and in my experience, is the crux of the problem that the schools are facing in our community. The teachers and principals that are working there are passionate and working miracles every day, as is I had to remember your title, your Education and External Operations Manager, Opportunities Manager, sorry, I got it, Janai Bowens, because she has a lot of the information that you are talking about putting approximately $50,000 into spending on consultants, and I think that between the reports, which are absolutely academic in nature, I filled out a gazillion of them. It's called a school improvement plan, sitting on your student parent organization at Village when you were still there. We reviewed it every year. From there, you will see the targets, the goals from the state, from the nation, and from the county, and you will be able to see if, given the opportunity, Ms. Bowens can look at high poverty rates and other issues like ESL, English as a Second Language, that can impact a school's ability to achieve those goals, which would help direct the commission in finding where the support needs to be. I'd love to see that $50,000 split up between the schools rather than spent on consultants, because I think you have the expertise right here. That's it.
That's one view. But I will say that it's clear, the language issues in schools is something that we're going to have to address the school board with too, because these kids really do have a language problem, not
that's
just in school,
probably one of our
but they go
biggest
home to
barriers.
households which do not speak English.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
and I've made this point before, so.
Language
And I
program.
wanted to apologize. I referred to you as the education director. I'm sorry.
That's your old title.
It's a good title.
So, are there any other comments from the public? I'm seeing Allison Turner mosey on up to.
Hi, everyone. Allison Turner. I'm representing Delray Chamber Education Fund. We're the nonprofit arm of the Delray Beach Chamber. So we raise money for the 8 Delray Beach public schools. We raised $46,400 last year that was evenly split between those schools. This year we've gone into a more focused grant process where schools can apply for grants, not just administrators, but we're hoping really teachers that see what's going on in their classrooms can apply for grants up to $2,000. So that process just closed at the end of May. We had over 40 grants. We will not be able to fund all those grants, but we had over 40 grants, and interestingly, Atlantic submitted one, whereas most of the schools submitted multiple ones. Atlantic High School submitted one, and that was with the help of Palm Beach County School District, who helped me remind them, because they would focus a little bit more on her versus someone that they don't know as well. But from that standpoint, we're committed, to support these Delray Beach public schools, and I think it's important from a business standpoint, because we are representing the business community since we're the nonprofit arm of the chamber, that we feel it's important, and I own a business, so it's important that we have these stronger public schools in order to gain a better workforce. One of our main funding sources last year was the bus shelter program that we've done in conjunction with the city of Delray that's currently kind of on hold. So we've been working hard to create additional funding sources this year, so hopefully we can give away at least the same amount of money as we did last year. Thank you very much.
May I ask you a question? Would that be okay? I know is that all right?
We go ask.
I was curious, you understand the predicament we have with the bus shelter, and I'm glad you've recognized that problem. And could you describe what are some of the other funding sources you're looking at? How are you trying to derive that money?
Sure. I mean, we have the annual education breakfast
Right.
that I know Kate kind of chairs. She's been doing a great job helping with the sponsorship. So a lot of the sponsorship money, like that money, all goes straight to the 8 Delray Beach Public Schools. There's no overhead. I mean, we have no staff people on our, we don't pay the chamber anything.
Right.
Like, we're all volunteer. Last year, we initiated Let the Gould Times Roll fundraiser as part of Do Good Delray. That'll be again at the end of October. We are currently brainstorming another fundraiser for the spring because we haven't done that one before. Something a little bit more community-based, so more details to come on that.
Okay.
So we're currently brainstorming additional funding sources, and then I'm hoping with creating a more clear grant process in place that we will maybe be able to go after grants as well in the future.
That would be exciting.
So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, dear. Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon, Christina Morrison, 1000 Lowry Street in beautiful downtown Delray. I am a big supporter of you, Commissioner Angela. You know that, but I have to gracefully disagree with you. We do have similarities to Wellington. They have the same English as a second language issues we do, and they have worked so hard over the last decade to overcome their issues with their schools. One of the things they've done is they have a line item in their budget for education, and it's devoted to schools. And the way they do it is they set goals for the teachers, the principals, and the students, and then they award money to those schools and teachers and students that reach those goals. And it works. It works. They have the diverse population like we do, and there are many similarities. You're right. They're not identical, but they do have many similarities.
And I'm aware of it.
they've
Thank
been
you.
Thank you. And over the last decade, they've really made strides. Boca's secret is parent involvement. I think we all know that. The other thing that I think our city could really shine on is having ready-to-work programs for the students in high school. And many of our industries, through the chamber actually, have expressed interest in participating and setting up these programs with South Tech and other vehicles that the school board already has in place. And the one industry that really is ready to chomping at the bit to help is the auto industry. So thank you very much.
That was a really interesting point, though, about, thank you so much, about incentivizing, making it fun. And it's kind of an idea, though. How often have we met with our principals, encouraged them, talked to them about what we want to see and how we as a commission can help? Even though we have somebody who's engaging with them, they've never met us except for once in a while when we step to an event and it's a brief handshake, thank you, bye. But maybe we need to figure out a way for us to engage with our principals to show we really want to help you. We really need to help figure out how we can help you. And I like that idea of, everybody loves a nice challenge. So, thank you.
Interesting. I'm very familiar with the program that Wellington has. I think someone provided us with that information. Village Academy has such a program as well, not as robust as the Wellington one, but and I worked in Boca for 10 years. The schools are utilizing those kinds of programs all over our county. And they work.
They do.
You have anything you would like to say?
It boils down to funding. Need the money.
Well,
I am the chair of the SAC at Village Academy, and it's money.
My hope
Boils
is that
down
we're
to
going to have some
$1.
strategic plan with the school board so that we know how to properly direct the money.
Right.
Because, just giving it to the schools and everything, that's what we've been doing.
That doesn't
and
work.
If everybody's satisfied that it's working for them, then that's great, but it's not.
Correct.
So,
And
anyway.
it looks like the school will be getting some more money, like $945 million maybe. We'll know by July. That's in the budget.
Yeah, well, we'll see where the
Yeah, we'll
budget
see,
goes.
yeah.
Well, that's stuff from, not our budget.
No, not
No.
of course not our budget.
That's
We only have $1.
right.
Oh, boy.
Anyone else? We're adjourned.
Thank you.